Welcome to the Political Bridge. I'm Ada, your host. Today we're diving into a significant shift in immigration policy under the current Trump administration. This concerns the revival of the public charge rule and new green card bond requirements. These changes could deeply affect individuals and families seeking to live in the United States.
Thanks, Ada. The Trump administration's actions on the public charge rule and green card bonds are about ensuring self-sufficiency. The concept of public charge has existed in U.S. immigration law for over a century. It ensures that those seeking to become permanent residents can support themselves and don't rely on taxpayer-funded benefits. The administration is simply restoring the original intent of the law. The previous administration's rules were too narrow, limiting what immigration officers could consider. This new approach gives officers the necessary flexibility to make fair decisions. It protects American taxpayers from carrying the financial burden of those who may not be self-sufficient. It also encourages immigrants to be productive members of society from day one. This is about common sense and protecting our national resources for our citizens first. These policies are designed to strengthen our immigration system and ensure that newcomers contribute to our economy, rather than strain our social safety nets. The proposed $100,000 bond for some green card applicants, for example, reinforces this principle of financial independence.
Nico, this isn't just about common sense. It's about creating immense barriers and fear for immigrant families. The Trump administration's new public charge rule rescinds the clearer guidelines set in 2022. It gives immigration officers broad discretion, making the process unpredictable and unfair. This change will have a chilling effect, meaning families will avoid vital programs like Medicaid or food assistance, even if they're eligible, just to protect their immigration status. This fear extends to U.S. citizen children, whose parents might disenroll them from necessary services. We've seen this before. The first Trump administration's public charge rule, though briefly in effect, caused thousands of immigrant families to stop using benefits they qualified for. This new rule is not just unfair, it's unsafe. It risks worsening health outcomes and increasing poverty for these families. It punishes people for being poor or needing help, which goes against our values. The proposed $100,000 green card bond requirement is another example, effectively pricing out many deserving individuals.
Jordan, you mentioned the chilling effect, where families avoid benefits. Nico, you emphasized self-sufficiency and protecting taxpayers. My first question to both of you is, how do we balance the government's interest in ensuring immigrants are self-sufficient with the potential for these policies to deter eligible families, including U.S. citizens, from accessing essential services they need? What are the real-world consequences of this tension?
Ada, the government has a clear responsibility to its citizens. The public charge rule, which dates back to 1882, is a tool to uphold that. It's not about punishing people. It's about setting clear expectations. Immigrants who come here should be able to stand on their own feet. If someone is likely to rely on government assistance, it's reasonable to question their ability to integrate successfully without becoming a drain on public resources. The argument about chilling effects often overlooks that many non-citizens are already ineligible for many of these benefits. The rule focuses on those seeking permanent residency, not necessarily those already here. We need to prioritize those who will contribute to our economy. The proposed green card bond, for example, ensures that applicants have the financial means to support themselves, reducing the likelihood of them needing public assistance. This rule aims to attract immigrants who are prepared for economic independence, which benefits everyone.
Nico, the idea that immigrants are a drain on resources is often a misconception. Research shows immigrants contribute billions in taxes and are crucial to our economy, especially in sectors like construction and hospitality. The public charge rule, especially with its expanded discretion, creates a climate of fear. This fear causes families to forgo health care, nutrition, and housing assistance. This isn't just about immigrants. It affects U.S. citizen children in mixed-status families. When children don't get proper nutrition or health care, it leads to worse health outcomes and lower educational attainment, impacting our society as a whole. The previous administration's rule, even for its short time, increased paperwork and costs for green card applications, but didn't lead to denials. The new rule, by removing clear definitions, makes it harder for families to know what's safe, leading to more avoidance. This isn't about self-sufficiency. It's about discouraging legal immigration by making it prohibitively difficult for working-class families.
Nico, you stated that many non-citizens are already ineligible for benefits, suggesting the chilling effect is overstated. However, Jordan, you highlighted that fear causes even eligible U.S. citizen children to lose access to vital services. Nico, how do you reconcile the claim that the rule primarily affects those ineligible for benefits with evidence of widespread disenrollment among eligible populations, including U.S. citizens, due to fear? Jordan, you argue the rule punishes poverty. How do you address the argument that a nation has a right to prioritize immigrants who demonstrate financial self-sufficiency?
Ada, while some families may choose to disenroll from benefits out of fear, the rule itself is clear. It targets those seeking permanent residency who are likely to become primarily dependent on government cash assistance or long-term institutional care. Many non-cash benefits, like emergency Medicaid or school lunches, are not considered. The previous administration's rule, which the current one rescinds, also had a narrow definition. The issue isn't the rule's intent, but perhaps a misunderstanding of its scope. We must differentiate between eligible citizens and those seeking to immigrate. This policy aims to ensure that new immigrants can support themselves, which is a reasonable expectation for any sovereign nation. It's about fiscal responsibility. We want immigrants who will contribute to our economy and not burden our social safety nets. This isn't about punishing poverty. It's about ensuring a sustainable immigration system that benefits everyone.
Nico, the problem is precisely the lack of clarity in this new rule. The Trump administration's decision to remove the clear 2022 guidelines means immigration officers now have broad, subjective discretion. This creates immense confusion. Families don't know which benefits are safe and which aren't. This uncertainty leads to a widespread chilling effect, far beyond just cash assistance. Studies show that even before the 2019 rule was fully implemented, millions of non-citizens and U.S. citizen family members were already dropping benefits like SNAP and Medicaid out of fear. This isn't a misunderstanding. It's a direct consequence of vague and punitive policies. While a nation can prioritize self-sufficiency, this rule goes too far. It essentially creates a wealth test for immigration, making it nearly impossible for working-class individuals and families to gain permanent residency. This undermines the very idea of America as a land of opportunity for all, regardless of their starting point.
This stress test reveals a core tension: the government's right to define who can enter and remain in the country versus the potential for those definitions to create unintended harm and fear, even for those not directly targeted. The debate centers on how much discretion is appropriate and how clearly these rules should be defined.
Ultimately, a strong nation needs a strong immigration system that prioritizes its citizens' well-being. The public charge rule and green card bond requirements are vital tools for this. They ensure that those who come to our country are prepared to be self-sufficient and contribute rather than rely on public assistance. This isn't about being heartless. It's about being responsible. We have finite resources, and they should first serve our current citizens. The previous administration's lax approach undermined this principle. By restoring broader discretion to immigration officers, we are empowering them to make comprehensive assessments, considering all factors to determine an applicant's likelihood of self-sufficiency. This policy encourages economic independence, which is a cornerstone of the American dream. It also sends a clear message: come to America ready to work and build a life without becoming a burden on taxpayers. This is a common-sense approach to immigration.
Nico, this approach creates a two-tiered immigration system, favoring the wealthy and shutting out those who need a chance. The public charge rule, with its vague language and broad discretion, will lead to arbitrary decisions and widespread fear. It forces families to choose between basic necessities like food and health care and their dream of permanent residency. This isn't just theory. We've seen the chilling effects firsthand. It harms our communities, our economy, and our values. Immigrants are not a burden. They are a vital part of our nation's fabric, contributing to our economy and enriching our culture. We should be welcoming those who seek a better life, not creating insurmountable barriers based on their financial status. A humane and fair immigration system provides clear rules and supports families rather than pushing them into the shadows and denying them essential services. This policy is a step backward for our country.
And that brings us to the end of another insightful discussion on the political bridge. Today, we've explored the complex implications of the Trump administration's public charge rule and new green card bond requirements. We've heard arguments for fiscal responsibility and self-sufficiency, and concerns about potential harm and fear within immigrant communities. It's clear that these policies touch on fundamental questions about who we are as a nation and what we value. Thank you, Nico and Jordan, for shedding light on these critical issues. You can find more information and resources at tpbridgepod.com. Join us next time for another engaging discussion. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep bridging those political divides.